Congratulations. You have discovered another meta egg. Today we are joined by old school metafilm analyst Tim Murphy, and we're diving into one of the strangest crossovers in the 80s and 90s. Do I have an echo somewhere? I hope not. Let's see. Let's see. Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, and the mythology of the bear and the bull. From Ghostbusters to the great outdoors to Trading Places, even stretching all the way back to Paint Your Wagon. Yeah, we will be talking about Paint Your Wagon. These movies are secretly about America's obsession with the market. The bull is enterprise and the bear is nature. Somewhere between the wilderness and Wall Street, comedy becomes prophecy. So grab your tent, your ghost trap, and maybe a few pork bellies. And we're heading into the heading straight into the bear market. That was really horrible. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Not too bad, bro. You and I have known each other for a while. We've even worked together a couple of times, but how would you explain someone who doesn't know who you are, like what you do?
Just regular old, like the old-fashioned synchro mystic that was really inspired by Katz's work and Wilner and back in the day, and a lot of stuff that you do. You were a big influence in the beginning as well, So just analyzing movies, symbolism in movies is something that's always really hit me, And once you get hip to that kind of thing in movies, you just see it, So it's fun to explore and share with people. You see it and point it out to others,
So I want to go ahead and show everybody one of your old school, because I mean you're kind of an old school influence in the whole field too. As we were looking at your very first video was called Bulls and Bears. And some people who don't know you don't know that you and I have talked about this a lot, but that was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know that there's like stuff that's happened now that's kind of like more relevant, I guess. But first of all, I think The Great Outdoors is a freaking classic. And
Oh, great. Yeah. Great movie. John Hughes and just those classic like SCTV and, old school like Saturday Night Live alumni and all those guys just did great movies in the 80s,
So what would be the theory then? Like as a jumping off point with The Great Outdoors, how do we like go ahead and let the cat out of the bag and say the initial premise of what we're here to talk about?
It's all financial symbolism, I mean, stock market, it's all replete throughout the whole movie. I mean, you think it's just kind of this comedy romp about, feuding families and, just whatever may ensue when they go up to the North Woods and everything. But it's just, there's a deeper undercurrent of, is it intentional, that kind of question, or is it, intentional? So, I mean, you just start watching. I mean, I encourage anyone to, go check it out after the show, watch it. It's a funny movie and, you'll catch on right away. It was something that, when you're not quite aware of what the symbols are, the financial aspects of it, it'll kind of just go over your head. But once you kind of get hip to that, you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's that. Oh, okay. It makes sense now. Was it something truly intentional? That's what I'd like to know. Like there's other things that, can't be, but this is, it starts off right away with, the song Yakety Yak, Don't Talk Back. It's like, you take out the papers in the trash or you won't get no spending cash. I mean, that's the song they're singing as they're coming into the cabin. And so.
No, that's a good point because I mean, the whole thing is overshadowed by, I mean, spoilers. What happens at the end is it's revealed that Dan Aykroyd's even following his brother-in-law up there into the vacation spot because he wants him to invest because he's lost everything, I believe is what it is.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So the whole the overarching theme, of course, would be like economics, so to speak.
100%. Yeah. And he's lost his seat on the exchange, and he goes up there to kind of fleece him for some money to kind of get by. And he's lying to his wife and his family that he's still on the stock exchange and they're still doing well. And, throughout the whole movie, you don't realize it till about, the third act or so that he's actually struggling. And, he kind of pulls this, at the end of the movie where he, tells Chet that he's, you know, uh, what he had did to him, said something to him at some point during their wedding, and it kind of makes him feel bad and guilts him into this. He's like, well, I came up here for an opportunity for you to invest, and you can see that throughout the whole movie. He's constantly asking people like at the bar and everything, hey, I've got an unbelievable opportunity for you, and he's just trying to get by any way he can. And
well, it's a mine, right? Like the whole idea of the scene where you initially like the bears living in a mine, like an underground.
yeah, the old mica mine, yeah. And there's dynamite in there too as well, which is kind of interesting, which correlates back to Dan Aykroyd being the voice of Yogi Bear from 2010. I mean, he's out there. Well, hold on, let's backtrack for a second. So there's
Yeah.
there's the water skiing whole incident where, I mean, you talk about, symbolism with finance with the water currency of the water, and what, controls the current on a bank, the river bank. It's on each side, I mean, Wells
Right.
Fargo, the wells go far, right? That money.
Fluidity and money.
Yeah. Liquidity. Yeah.
Liquidity.
You're underwater in your mortgage.
Oh yeah.
Currency, cash flow.
Right.
And his son's name is Buck as well. You've got, female deers being doe and males being bucks, the horned animal as well, with the bulls having horns. So there's that, masculine energy of the bull, and bears kind of having a feminine aspect to it. So there's that duality. And yeah, there's the bull and bear right there, those statues. Yeah. And so, and what does Dan Aykroyd do at the end? He does defeat the bear. He goes down to that cave and he rescues his girls. And, and so it's, and, the old 96er as well. So when they're in that restaurant and they're eating that steak, and he kind of tricks him into it, because I don't think he has money to pay for the whole bill, which I think kind of is inferred there, that he's kind of, he's like, what can I get out of you if you, do the old 96er, and he actually, John Candy, Chet's character, he eats the whole steak, and that's the bull, right? The cow, so
right,
he
just to get it free. Like if he eats the whole thing, he
yeah,
doesn't have to pay. Everybody
right,
eats it free.
right. And then he tells the whole bear story too when they're playing Monopoly. He's like, the kids are playing Monopoly in there and the living room, and then he tells Chet or Roman, excuse me, Dan Aykroyd's character tells the whole story. He's like, well, no, excuse me. John Candy tells the story, and Dan Aykroyd has like this heart attack moment at the end. It's like, this financial, like, oh my God, and
Let's see. Let's like the great outdoors water ski.
yeah. So that the water skiing scene is great too, because he's skiing through the water. So you're on, it's the cash flow, it's the currency, and he does. So Dan Aykroyd's actually pulling John Candy, but in Yogi Bear, where he voices the bear, it's like he's the bear in that movie, and he's the one on the water ski. So he's not the one pulling; he's the one on the water.
Right.
So it's just this weird, sync, right? I mean,
Dude, it's so like undeniable. I mean, that's like the reason why I always love talking about this, is because of like that point right there. Like, let's get out of whether it means anything or not. What's actually happening here is that Dan Aykroyd is driving in the boat, pulling John Candy, who is kind of like a bear, right? Like
he's a big guy. Yeah.
he's a big guy. He's like the bear in the situation, right? But then when Dan Aykroyd does the voice of Yogi Bear, he's getting tugged by the boat, by the jet ski. It's almost like Dan Aykroyd pulling Dan Aykroyd. And what's wild is like the advertisement for, you can see here on the thumbnail from MetaEgg,
It's
like
got the bear in the boat.
the bear in the boat,
Yeah.
right? On the movie poster, but the bear is never in the boat. They're just using the different scenes and like mixing them together as like a gag, right?
Yeah.
But
There's another one where they have the bear has them tied up in like a fishing line, I think, too. There's another movie poster advertisement that has them kind of, or maybe he's got the bear's coming up behind them, I think, maybe in that one. So the bear
okay,
is on the
find
poster as
out.
well.
I think I have movie posters up because it's important to understand like the way it relates to the other work that both actors did. So like Dan Aykroyd, one of my favorite like conspiracy theories is the whole relationship to like Ghostbusters actually being sort of like a homage to American business and their obstacles with like environmental regulations, so to speak. You know what I mean? So like there is the nature of the fact that like um each actor kind of like plays on those themes multiple times in a row. That's like their own personal sync. And then when like John Candy and Aykroyd, I don't know whose movie it is more though. Like I guess they're both in the lead. And so they kind of like deal with the themes that they both share in a very exaggerated way. Like the way I see it is like there's like these little circles of symbols, right, that follow each actor. So Dan Aykroyd's like whole little relationship to all of his movies isn't necessarily just the thread of like economics or so, because like you got trading places, you have the great outdoors, you have like Ghostbusters, and probably, I don't know, you could lump the Blues Brothers in there, right? What
Yeah,
else would
the Blues Brothers, they're after money, right, to pay back or help out that orphanage, right? So Dan
right?
Aykroyd, I mean, he's got a lot of them, like loose cannons. Like there's quite a few Dan Aykroyd. I was going to do a whole symbol set or kind of a sync
Symbol set.
video related around both Dan Aykroyd and John Candy, because that theme follows both of those actors extremely, a lot. It's yeah, they're
Well,
in nothing but trouble too. He's that crooked
yeah.
judge that's fleecing people for money all the time as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here is, let's see if there is. I only have one movie poster for the Great Outdoors, but the fishing line is what is holding John Candy up. And then there's the bear right there.
yeah. And the raccoon as well. Like, what do they have? They have those masks, like the bandit. They're thieves, little trash pandas. you know, they're they're
Yeah,
always into the garbage and everything. So they have. You ever noticed that? Like the old school like bandits. They have the mask over their eyes. And
right. They're thieves. They're going
yeah,
like, yeah. That's great. That's great.
yeah.
There's something else. I remember I have a few, like, I think maybe I have a folder of some stills, and that will help me remember exactly what happened. There's a lot of times though, like you said, where it looks like the topics that they're talking about almost look intentionally kind of hinting at economics as far as like the great outdoors
R-
goes.
Right. So there's also like that one scene where they're in the bar and they're talking to Reg, the guy that gets struck by lightning, and there's currency as well, lightning. And it's like winning the lottery is like getting struck by lightning, right? And
Oh yeah, because he's
yeah,
66 times or whatever. Is this like
yeah. And then he says, and then what is and they're sitting there at the bar and he asks the bartender, he says, bartender, you ever think about investing? Or I can't remember his exact words, but he's like, my wife's a real bear. He's got some egg money set aside, won't give it up to me. So you've got that, she's a real bear. And it's got to be intentional, but it would be really nice to know if it was, right? Like all these, kind of latent symbols that are in the movie. And at the end, they actually defeat the bear, right? Like when they actually, he scares him off and shoots him with the lamp rifle. And so in a sense, like they defeated the bear, and then Chet goes home, or they're loading up to go home, and they realize, well, they're going to let Roman come live with them, and stay and get back on his feet. So they kind of defeated the bear at the end of the movie. So the money situation, and that's the kind of thing, is like the bear represents the downturning in the market, and there's people that make money in that. And then when a bullish investor invests when the market's doing really well, and we kind of see like in the fall time that generally the bear is more stronger because they're getting ready for hibernation. And you can see like, like the crash, like the Great Depression, like the crash of the 30s. And then even in 87, I think those happened. I think that was like October 7th. So you see these downturns usually happen towards the fall. So it's kind of like before the bear goes into hibernation, it gets a little more aggressive. It's trying to eat more. It's, preparing for, its long sleep. So.
Okay, so this is how it starts basically, right?
Right. So
So
they're playing Monopoly there, right? So they've got that
gonna
whole money.
shit a brick of gold though. I right off the bat.
Shit a solid
It's-
gold brick.
Right. So it's talking about like making shit or turning shit to gold or whatever.
Right. Excrement into gold, just like in the Holy Mountain, like Alejandro Jodorowsky talks about, like you're turning nothing, or like alchemy, lead into gold. Like there's an alchemy to all of this as well.
And then they're playing Monopoly and he introduces the whole idea. I mean,
Yeah.
of the bear.
Yep.
Telling the story. I wonder what his t-shirt is. They're wearing t-shirts that have bears on them.
Yep.
That's so weird. Oh, and then it introduces the raccoons stealing. Yep. Hey, we got they're from Chicago. Oh, lost.
Oh, and what are the Chicago sports teams? The Bulls, the Bears, and the Cubs.
Oh shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Dude. That gives me fucking chill bumps. The whole hot dogs again. So here's the initial water skiing that we compare to Yogi Bear, right?
Right. Yep.
It's almost the whole thing. It's like watching it. And then right after that, they're doing the bears, right?
Right. So when they go to the bear jump, he says it's Yogi and Boo Boo in the flesh, right? And,
that's right. Holy shit. He even announces like it's kind of a wink right off the bat, right?
Right. Even though this came, 30 years or 20 some odd years before that.
Yeah. Rocks on the cans to keep them from stealing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean the whole thing is basically the relationship. That's the John Hughes relationship is with the son, right?
Right, which his name is Buck as well, right? I forgot the actor's name, but his name is Buck. So you have John Candy plays Uncle Buck. So you've got that masculine male energy of the horned animal, right? The buck.
Yeah, we'll have to look up his name and her name because both of them are connected to Keith Coogan, by the way.
Oh, sure, yeah. The Book of Love.
Of course, the Book of Love is he's in it, right?
Yeah.
This guy. Book of Love is great. You and I need to talk about that again later.
Right.
Book of Love is, and it's got so many different people like just randomly in it. It's really kind of a special movie. Okay, then we have her, who I believe is like Keith Coogan's sister in Cheetah or something like that. She doesn't do much. If I remember correct, she's like a lawyer now. She hasn't done anything in years. And the other guy, this guy, I think became like, I want to say he became like a cartoon producer. Is what I want to say. He ended up becoming like a guy who produces TV shows or something like that.
A little more behind the scenes,
Yeah. More than just an actor. He became like part of the industry. Lucky number 7. Is it 66 times that he had been?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Bingo, 7 sevens. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, this is the bat scene. I don't know if there's any significance to that. Then it's those two again. Here is steak.
And so they're at a Paul Bunyan restaurant, right? So he's got Babe the Blue Ox.
Okay, so it's a symbol of the bear, right?
Or the bull with the blue ox, and then they're there eating the old 96 or the large steak that he's got to get it down, and then they all eat for free if he can eat the whole steak.
That's perfect. And these two again. You have to eat the whole fat. You have to eat all of it.
You got it.
This really is like a special movie, like the typical classic video store rental from that time period.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they wake up with leeches. I forgot about that.
Right. And like, what is somebody that doesn't have any money? You kind of like, ticks and leeches, right?
Oh,
These people that leech off you, take what's yours. And
that's what he's doing. That's like what Dan
yeah,
Aykroyd is leeching off of John Candy, right?
right. Yeah.
Because it's even his vacation. Like he's interrupting the whole vacation.
Right. He was never invited. Yeah.
This is when I think they start. Oh, look at that kick-ass transformer right there.
Yeah. There you go. Little 80s nostalgia.
There's the bear. I think that's a bear right behind him.
I'm not sure. I can't see.
Statue.
There was a statue of a moose up there, which is another, the horn.
Okay, here we go. Then he gets struck by lightning again. That guy gets hit by lightning again because there's just, oh yeah, there's the moose right there.
Yeah, and if you can see as well in that bookshelf there's a book about finance, or it says Wall Street, and then it says there's a book that says monkey business, and you can get the word money out of that, so it's money business. I feel like that's
I see it. I see the monkey business is down. It's like a right on top of the jigsaw puzzle down here on the bottom. A bridge of two. Candyland is in the background, so it's kind of like John Candy's bingo. That's good observations, man. Okay, he gets hit by lightning again, and then the girls who are wearing like the little cub, the bear cub thing, they go inside the mine shaft.
And this is all during like a rainstorm as well, so you've got that water association to money, and they go down into the mica mine, and it's like there's dynamite down there as well. So like in that one scene where in Yogi Bear, where Dan Aykroyd's, Yogi Bear being pulled, they set off fireworks for the 4th of July. So I feel like there's correlations between like, like an explosion or like, like if there's a collapse of the economy or something like that, it relates to like an explosion or fireworks, So he's like, it's old, wet dynamite. We're going to be all right, girls, when they're down in that mine, and the bear kind of comes out, and then, Chet or John Candy throws the rope down to pull him out, when he actually pulls the bear out of the cave. And here they are.
That's like the difference between like a rising market and a falling market. Like,
right. Yeah.
Boom.
And there's that thing with the ass too. So we're talking about like excrement into gold, and like, that scene when she's like, you can blow the whole family out your ass, Dad. It's like there seems to be something with that as well,
Yeah. He's like Louis Vuitton luggage.
And Roman, right? So we talk about Rome. What did Rome do with currency?
Give to Caesar what is Caesar's.
So right. Hell yeah. Yeah. His license plate even says Roman 1, I believe.
Yeah. And then they have like, I can't remember. There's like a dance scene, but I can't remember. There's horns everywhere.
Yeah. I would love to see the, extended cut. Like, there's got to be like, I mean, they cut this movie in weird ways. Like I've seen some deleted scenes. I would love to get like a bonus disc on this, some sort of like special edition Blu-ray that has all that extra stuff. I bet that movie was supposed to be longer, cut a little different, because you can tell there's some things that don't quite, line up.
I mean, that's kind of a typical Hughes movie. We can name a couple of the ones that he's done, like Ferris Bueller's kind of a meandering. But what do you think about like Secret Messages? Because I will admit it looks so intentional that the Great Outdoors has these like little Easter eggs and winks to the whole all arching of like weird symbolism winks towards finance. Like it's undeniable. Certain parts of it, you have to admit, are intentional.
This seems overt. Yeah, for sure.
We're talking about Hughes, right? We're talking about like doesn't he write all of his movies?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean,
that's a lot. Do you have any other like weird? Because it seems to me it goes with the actors, and I know it's not the actors' fault that the themes are there, but it's
Well,
almost like
John Candy as well, like Cool Runnings, they're on ice, frozen assets. He's the bobsled team, and he's kind of the disgraced coach that cheated and tried to gamble on his own team during the Olympics. And I think that through that whole movie, he's kind of like, washed up and, disgraced because he gambled. I think he tried to weigh down the bobsled or something to get it to go faster, or did something. I'm not recalling exactly correctly, I think. But I mean, so he's got lots of those as well. Like, I mean, I was going to, like I said, do a video that featured both Dan Aykroyd and John Candy and all their associations to money and the symbolism as well. Just, you days turn into weeks and years, and you just kind of, ideas. Sometimes making those kinds of things, you got to have it be like, like a fire lit and you be inspired to do it. But there's,
well, let's kind
it's
of make a little skeleton here. What else can we include in this? Of course, there's trading places. Trading places is very important in my opinion because there are like weird. I mean, the whole thing takes place in like in the World Trade Center when
right.
they're trading
Trade.
stocks, right?
Yeah,
Trade.
absolutely.
But some people have pointed out like the clocks is 9/11 and things of that nature. So it's kind of attached to being like prophetic as and then there's the orange juice. You remember?
Oh
When
yeah. Supertramp.
yes, the Supertramp orange juice connection with 9/11 and the fact
Yeah.
that they're trading oranges.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, there's quite a few Eddie Murphy movies that I guess would be about finance. It's not all of them, of course, but not as pronounced as say like Aykroyd, right? Aykroyd would almost be over the top. Let's look at Candy. Yeah. We'll go to
Well, like in Ghostbusters, he like he mortgages out like his family's farm or something to get them in business. He's like something he talks about the percent rate, like the interest rate on the loan they take out. I think it's something like that in Ghostbusters where Dan
oh,
Aykroyd.
I like
It's
the whole
Spaceball.
idea of
Oh, here we go.
Spaceballs.
So Spaceballs, he's the dog, right? Now he's got that circle around his eye. And what do we get? We get bullseye, right? So that the target is the bullseye. The circle with the dot in the center also represents the sun. It's also a symbol for gold in alchemy.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, but that's like the whole point of Spaceballs, though, right? It's like Spaceballs, the placemat, Spaceballs, the
Yeah,
whiskey,
it's money.
Spaceballs,
It's just like we
money.
talk about Star Wars being like just this, complete, marketed thing. Like everything can be, sold. And yeah, it's like Spaceballs, the movie, Spaceballs, this. Like when there's that scene when he's trying to sell everything related, all the merchandise. And like they want to suck up all the air. And I think at the end of Spaceballs, did they say the search for more money? Is that what they say at the end of it?
Yes,
It's
the
like
search for more
Spaceballs
money.
2. Yeah.
Perfect. That's so on point, though. What's
Right.
the whole deal with Canadian bacon? I forget about Canadian bacon.
Canadian Bacon is a complete, and it was done by Michael Moore. It is the blueprint for what people claim 9/11 was a false flag. And it's at the Canadian Tower. And it's all about the tower, dude. Like, and they actually like set out and explain what a false flag is in that movie. And it's done by Michael Moore. And then he went on to do Fahrenheit 9/11 and kind of like introduced this idea, without saying it, and like, I mean, I've did a whole video on Canadian bacon as well. And that is completely like, I don't know. It's a whole, I don't want to, digress into something else, but yeah. Wagons East, and you've got the cowboy.
Well, okay, so what I just had a thought here.
Sorry to.
No, okay, well, we were talking about the John Candy "I Like Me," right? Isn't that it just
Yeah,
came out yesterday, I think.
correct. Yeah.
I Like Me. There was a show that I just did recently about the Bad Seed. Have you ever heard of that movie?
The horror movie.
It's kind of a horror movie, not like a slasher movie, but it's like from the 1950s about this like evil kid, right? And it's kind of a thriller.
I haven't seen it. I think I heard you speak of it though.
Yeah, because it has to do with the good son. Like there's the bad seed
Right.
and the good son. And so we were talking about Macaulay Culkin. I've been kind of like watching Macaulay Culkin a lot lately. And pictures came up where all of these different people who were involved with John Candy were like at the premiere of this documentary about John Candy, which just came out. I think the date is like October 10th, and it is now the 11th. So, but I mean, we have Macaulay Culkin. There was Steve Martin there. They're all of these friends. I don't know Candy's story though. He is Canadian, isn't he?
Correct. Yeah.
Is John Hughes Canadian?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't think so. You know, and then just talking about Steve Martin as well, like planes, trains, and automobiles, he sells shower rings. That's kind of like his business, or like what he's doing. And he like, you can think like shower rings with the water too. So I get that kind of currency thing. And there's the one part where they don't have any money and they've lost their credit cards or whatever, and Steve Martin's trying to get home. And you know, so he sells these shower curtains in the like wherever they're at, like a bus depot or something like that. So
Well, Chicago again with
yeah,
Uncle Buck,
right, yeah,
because that would be the other movie. He's also in Home Alone, which I think is John Hughes also. Is John Hughes or
yep, Home
Christopher
Alone.
Columbus?
Yeah, I think Christopher Columbus directed it. John Hughes wrote it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell the two projects apart because there's like the Christopher Columbus is supported by basically or mentored by Hughes, right?
I think so.
I mean, is that fair to say? I might be out of. Oh, Splash! Look, there's the Trade Center right there.
Yeah, there's the water as well.
There's the
Currency.
water as well.
Yeah, let's not even get the Tom Hanks and the Twin Towers. Right, did a video on that as well.
Right, because in Monsters and Magic, he jumps off of the sea. That's the thing that
Mazes and Monsters.
are
Yeah,
things that look intentional, but that's impossible. It's impossible, Tim. I mean, it's impossible. It looks it is what your point is, right? Let's get down to the nitty gritty here because there's a lot more going on to this that we could go on all day. But like the sheer philosophy of like allowing yourself to see it, it's there. But that's impossible because you're talking about like what AI. The only thing I could think of is like AI was organizing it, or time travelers, black magicians of the Illuminati. Help me out here. What's a good theory to jump to?
um, the simulation, God, right? It's just we are all one.
So it's going to
It's
happen
there's a
anyway.
singular one, right?
So then what is the purpose to like read it?
I don't think I don't think there is a purpose. I think it's just what it is. Like you resonate things. Like I think you coined one of my movies that I did on, um, what was it? The actor, he did Dragonheart. What was his name? Dennis
Oh,
Quaid, excuse me. Yeah. So,
oh
and I
yeah.
think after I did that movie, you said it was the mono movie because I explored the mono myth. So what I did was I just started combining clips of all his movies, and it sort of collaged into a singular movie where I told another narrative with these clips of all his movies. So it's just this one. To me, I see it's the mono, the one. It's the mono myth. And being archetypal, and everyone seems to have an archetype or something that follows them, right? So I think if it's not intentional, every aspect and the symbolism of it all, it's just that we are all one, man. I know it sounds woo woo and kind of simple, but I don't know if we could chase our tails and chase abstractions about what it is, or if it's, you know, the simulation. Like it's bizarre. I mean, it's truly bizarre, and it's interesting. And I think that that vast unknown makes it even more interesting. Everybody loves a mystery, and I don't know if we'll ever know. I mean, I'd like to say it's, you know, just it is what it is, man, and that's that's all I got. You know, I mean, I've heard a lot. I mean, me and you've had personal conversations about this many
Yeah.
times. Like, oh, what is it? Is it intentional? Like, it's like you almost can't even say it anymore. Like, it's just, it's there. and it's obvious. And I think that's what makes it so profound, synchronicity and personal syncs. Like we've talked about why we explore pop culture is because you can share something universal and everybody can relate to it, or at least those who are familiar with what you're speaking of can relate to it. But everybody has syncs in their life. Everybody experiences synchronicity, these meaningful coincidences. I mean, and the symbolism that follows that. It's just, it's truly interesting and it's amazing. It's like when I was younger, I thought like this is the evidence of God. This is like it's magic, man. It's alchemy. It's like when you invest yourself in the arts and creation. I mean, writers, directors, performers, all these people, musicians can even conjure these things from the ether. I mean, these things come up. I mean, just exploring your creativeness and sticking to it and being honest it'll manifest. I mean, I don't think it's really worth saying what is it. It's art. It is, man. I mean, I think there's some intention.
I don't want to get paranoid about it though, because I mean, like certain aspects of, I mean, there's a lot going on with Dan Aykroyd. I mean, we like know his back history as far as like his family.
Yes.
There's like, I guess the personal sync would be his family was known as like these the turn of the century mystics. What were they called? Like where
Like
they were trying to have renaissances or seances.
seances, yeah, like clairvoyance and like just spiritualists. Like,
There was
yeah,
a
he's big
surge
into.
of that. I can't remember what it was called, but people were going to theaters and into this like new resurgence of mysticism and this idea of ghost and everything that his family was known for in that Victorian age is like what inspired Ghostbusters, like attention to the paranormal or whatnot. Um, so it's like there is like a personal thing, but at the same time, like it, you can almost like imagine Dan Aykroyd being in some weird like actor cabal or something.
Well, is it a cabal or is it certain people who sort of explore occult themes or look to that side of things? I mean, there's the good and evil kind of aspect of it, God, Satan. I mean, some people that explore spiritual aspects, the higher self, will maybe resonate stronger with this kind of thing. So, I mean, some people say, like, let's say a musician wrote a song and said, no, I didn't write that. It was sort of channeled to me. It came from somewhere else. It's too profound to be from me. I'm not that special. And some people say, well, that's demonic influence. God wouldn't do that. But if you're actually connecting to a higher, frequency, these things can come out. I like to think that the human mind and the human species is that amazing to manifest these things. It doesn't have to be good or evil. But I think Dan Aykroyd and that connection that he has to those, let's say, occult, these hidden, these more esoteric uh, things, maybe that he resonates stronger now because of that. Like maybe once you get hip to those kinds of things, that it sort of, it juices up the battery a little more. You become a stronger, connection to the, whatever, I think there's something to that. I think people who, maybe don't find those things as interesting, maybe they just, their life is a little more mundane. So it's not as strong with them. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
I mean, it's sort of like in a movie, you would see like an individual like become obsessed. Like I think of uh certain movies that have that theme. Like I know it's really kind of funny to talk about, but like Muppets in Space, where Gonzo discovers that he is an alien, but before he actually has communication with the alien, he starts seeing these weird things in his media, right? Like he sees these symbols, or it's kind of like Percy Jackson, like Percy Jackson is like related to the gods, but he doesn't know it. The only thing he can really go off of is like the fact that he looks at the words and the words will shuffle around and make meaning towards him or whatever. Like there's a way of like seeing beyond the veil, so to speak. But it's like almost a trope theme that happens in certain movies, like the number 23 or something.
So these are little breadcrumbs leading you to the divine, like visual rebuses, like, hey, you are of the divine, remember who you are, kind of a thing. Like these symbols are sort of pathways, right?
Well, I mean, it's convoluted though, because it's a symbol from like, so the symbols are from different points of view. So there's like the bear and bull symbolism, so to speak, of like uh the great outdoors and that whole relationship of nature and commerce. And then like there's also another relationship from a different point of view with like Ghostbusters and Dan Aykroyd. And so like the spiritualism of like the life after death is like, because there's a connection between death and economics symbolically that goes all the way back to like Roman times, where like a plutocracy is uh, uh, a civilization where the rich basically control uh, what happens in the society. And it's called Pluto at the beginning because like Pluto is like the god of the underworld, but he's also like the god of finances or economics or whatever. And then there's the relationship of like when you go to the ferryman, you have to pay him money, or they put the coins on the individual's eyes to pay the ferryman.
Absolutely.
So it's the same, like the great outdoors doesn't necessarily come at it from that same view, but like it's like Dan Aykroyd has that symbol in the middle of his being, and all of these movies kind of like revolve around it in like this symbolic wheel or web. And like some are more from this point of view than that point of view, and then the other actor will have like the same kind of thing, but they maybe like point more towards one end than the other. You know what I'm saying? And then
Duality, yeah.
those two together in a movie together, it will become more pronounced between that point of view. And it's like this weird web, but like that seems more to be like not intentional, or at least it's like unconscious. Like a lot of the things, like I've found recordings of certain actors talking about the different projects that they do, and they'll talk about them under this nature of like they'll notice that those movies have something together and they'll be back to back or something, but they'll also acknowledge the fact that it was just completely coincidental. Like I found one with Matt Damon talking about Interstellar and The Martian, which if you watch the movies, he's like stranded on a planet by himself in both situations. And he made that comment to Ridley Scott when Ridley Scott was trying to like sell him on The Martian. And he's like, well, I mean, won't people notice? And like he tells the story of Ridley Scott kind of going, nobody will fucking care, Matt. Like, and then I've heard of other actors like Michael Keaton talking about the relationship of Birdman and Batman being completely coincidental. But those are kind of like exaggerated examples that look like they're intentional. And I guess you're right. I guess it doesn't matter. Like, I just kind of point out the fact that like Dan Aykroyd has like those themes as far as like, like in Dragnet, where there is like the satanic cabal that they're
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh, that's totally like that's the Bohemian Grove, right? I mean, when they go to, that whole thing where the higher ups, that what is it, the priest or a reverend? Oh, I don't know what he is, but he's the head of the cult, and they're at some weird big like ceremony, and and that goes back to being with like Tom Hanks as well, and that Dragnet too. Oh, there's a good scene in there where they crash into like a milk. They're looking for like I can't remember what they're looking for, but they're gonna like raid this place because they think they found whatever, and they crash into like it's like a like a I don't know, but it's a milk plate. I don't think they're milking cows, but it's just, and he licks his finger and he's like, nope, just good wholesome milk. And you've got the cow relation there, and the mother's milk. It's like this symbol of
yeah, yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah, Dragnet is an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about like there's like a theme of goats, and I think there's snakes involved. It's
Yeah.
like but it is specifically about like this, like it kind of makes it feel like soft disclosure in a way.
Yeah, it's like that 80s satanic panic too. Like
Yeah,
you even have like Tom Hanks being in the movie The Burbs, and that whole movie is like satanic panic completely. Like he thinks his neighbors are Satanists. And like we can it's a topic for another time, but Tom Hanks's whole career and what he represents and his involvement. I mean, the occult runs strong in that as well. But
I wonder if there's a movie poster for Sneakers. Have you ever seen Sneakers?
no, I haven't.
Sneakers has River Phoenix in it, and it stars Robert Redford. And Dan Aykroyd plays this kind of like autistic guy. They're like a crew that breaks into stuff. And they get hired by like, they kind of get tricked into doing something for like the mob that they don't want to do. So then they go back and they like steal that back. It's kind of like a heist movie. But Dan Aykroyd plays this character named Mother. And I didn't think about it until you were talking about the whole milk and Mother's milk and stuff. But the point of it is he's a stark raving conspiracy theorist in the movie. Like every time somebody says it or says something, he'll go, well, they faked the moon landing, and he'll start talking about it and everybody will roll their eyes. But it's kind of like an interesting little connection there, I guess, with the Mother's milk, as well as him being kind of like related to
Well, how about
conspiracy.
like the moon landing thing? Like I was just speaking of, like the symbol of the sun is the circle with the dot in the center, and that's gold. The sun and the gold are, and then moon, its symbol is quicksilver, right? So you've got silver and gold. What are our two big trading, like, precious metals, silver and gold, right?
I feel like Tom Hanks would have a lot to do with the moon again. Oh, but here we go right here. I do believe this is a Woody Allen movie. Yes, there it is. Woody Allen. I don't think I've ever seen it. But the whole relationship of the Scorpio being on, I mean, that's like astrological symbolism to me, right off the bat. The Scorpio and the moon, you think?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the movie though.
I don't know anything about it either.
But you did bring up Paint Your Wagon.
Yes.
And that's a classic Western from '69, I think, with Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood. And I think that movie is completely intentional. It has to be, but it's so old. I mean, we're talking '69. Like you can find these kinds of symbols in movies from then. And that whole movie revolves around gold mining. And they have like a boom town. They're mining, and everything kind of runs dry, and they're talking about moving on. And they're in the bar drinking one day, and they notice that people keep, they're paying for everything with gold dust or whatever they can, exchange. And it keeps, like, he bumps a guy and it falls to the floorboards of the bar. And they think, hey, there's got to be a bunch of this happening. So they decide that they're going to dig tunnels throughout the town and tunnel up underneath the bar and collect the gold dust that's been falling. Well, the whole movie kind of correlates in like this fight between a bull and a bear. There's going to be some sort of like event, and a bull's going to fight a bear. And during this time, they pretty much excavated underneath all the buildings in the town. And this final battle between the bull and bear happens, and the town starts to collapse. And it seems to be like the collapse of the stock market. And it is a bizarre, symbolic journey. It's a great movie. I absolutely love it. It's a musical Western. I think it was voted one of the worst movies of all time. I think it's fucking great. But I mean, you watch that movie, I mean, this stuff goes back a long time. So if we're talking intent, I mean, whoever wrote that movie, I think it might have been a play before it was a movie, but it has all that.
A Broadway musical. Paint Your Wagon is a Broadway musical comedy with book and lyrics by Alan J. Lerner. Okay, the story centers on a miner and his daughter and follows the lives and loves of the people in a mining camp in the gold rush era California. So, I mean, that's still a long way out there. Like, as far as like time of being written. What's about Mormons?
Yeah, there's a
wives.
Yeah, so a Mormon comes to town, has two wives, and it's called No Name City, and it's population of 100 men. and Lee Marvin, they all start like, they say, well, why does he have two wives? Why don't you sell one of them to us? You know, and they basically, Lee Marvin bets the most and wins the hand of, I think it's, what's her name? I forgot her name, but either way, he wins the bid, and then she winds up falling in love with Clint Eastwood, which is his partner. So Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood are partners. And they wind up, well, she talks about, well, I was married to a man who had two wives. Why can't we just, so it's this polyamorous relationship between Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood. And what is her name? Can you find her name? I believe she might have.
In the
Yeah, it's what is her
Lee
name?
Marvin, Clint Eastwood, Jean Seberg.
Jane Seberg, is that
Jane
it?
Seberg.
Yeah, her. Yeah, and so that is it's just a weird movie, man. It's I recommend anyone to watch it. Like it's very irreverent, very kind of like it's blasphemous in a way too. There's a lot of this anti-God, like Lee Marvin is really like debaucherous, and there's a parson that kind of preaches throughout town, and he's always telling him to get lost, and he's like, this whole town is corrupt and it's going to sink into the pit. And at the end of the movie, it does. The whole town collapses, right? Because of its, wicked ways. It's over indulgence, it's greed.
I have a weird story about this movie, Paint Your Wagon. It came out in the theaters when I was a kid, and my dad took me to it. I'm pretty sure he was like smoking or something, but we watched it twice in a row. Like we went through the whole thing, and then I remember staying in the theater, and he like probably went out front and like smoked a joint or something like that, and came
There's
back.
an intermission. It's like a 3-hour movie.
That must be what it was. Maybe maybe he got up and went outside during the intermission, but it felt like we just stayed in the theater for.
It's
It
the
felt
long.
like we were in the theater for fucking ever. I probably fell asleep and don't remember the movie, but here on your video, it's pretty much laid out. Like, well, I guess that he's talking to them about the bears and stuff. And then here we go. Paint Your Wagon, 1969. And there is the bear and bull fight. And then the whole town is like dynamited up underneath, right? Is that how?
No, they had just dug tunnels, so there's mines underneath the whole town, like I said, connecting all the bars and the brothels and establishments where they're trying to collect all the gold dust that fell through the floorboards, because the gold's run out where they're at, so they're trying to stay there, and it's just become a boom town, and they're making more money from gambling and prostitution than anything else. So, and I think I combined those two. Like this is probably one of my first. It is one of my first videos, and I just was throwing all this stuff together. It wasn't really in correlation as much to the great outdoors as much as I'm just speaking of bull and bear symbolism movies that I had found so far.
Oh, Brewster's Millions.
Brewster's Millions, right? Yeah, John Candy and Richard Pryor. I have Richard Report. I did a whole video on Richard Pryor and his association with money. He's a strong resonator for that as well. And look, they're the Cubs, right?
Right. I think it's the Cubs is what I'm like fascinated by, because the Cubs have come up with the girl, but also like right here when we were just showing like.
And they're the Hackensack Bulls in that team, the baseball team. They're the Hackensack Bulls, and he gets the Cubs jersey in that one. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They're the Hackensack Bulls because they play baseball, and then he has to spill. Is that how the story goes? He has to spend his He has to spend a certain amount of
money to get the full amount. It's basically impossible. Yeah.
It's basically impossible because he can't have anything left over. And
right.
so, but they play for a ball team that's the Bulls, and then he buys the jersey of the Cubs. So it's still like a through line. That's creepy, dude.
Yeah. And there's a point where you pointed this out to me, where he gets an interior decorator just to spend this money to waste it. And he steps into the room and there's a big circle on the floor on the carpet, and it's a bullseye on the carpet. It's got that concentric circles in the center dot.
That's
crazy. And all these movies seem to be trending right now on Prime since the John Candy movie came out. I Like Me. Yeah. I think Brewster's Millions, when I was last on, was trending now.
There it is. holy crap, it's got the money right there, just like he's sitting chilling on top.
Yeah.
Well, $30 million in 30 days. Because
Yeah.
he's his catcher, right? They're both on the
Yep. He's the catcher. Yeah. And
crazy.
Richard Pryor's the pitcher.
That's amazing, dude.
It's pretty crazy, man. Yeah. I like I said, I still haven't made those videos about Dan Aykroyd or John Candy, but these are all topics that I wanted to explore and put them back to back, you know, make it a solid case. You know, summer rental being a financial thing. You know, when they're out on a boat, that whole thing, they're fixing up a boat for a boat race.
But there's the water right there.
Yeah, the water and the boat race in the movie. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's both of them. That's got to be related. Isn't that? That's not Tom Hanks, is it?
That's
Yeah, it
Tom
is
Hanks.
Tom Hanks and John
Tom Hanks.
Candy.
Yeah, and that has a money aspect to that movie as well. Yeah, and Tom Hanks is he's escaping like a bet he made, like he owes some people money. I think he was gambling and he runs off and you know, so
Wow. So Tom Hanks and he are in quite a few together.
Armed and Dangerous. Yeah, there's a whole money aspect to that movie as well.
Yeah, they're taking
He's a security guard, yeah, and
at guard dog security.
yeah.
Mog.
Yeah.
John Candy is undercover, overpressed, and keeping you safe from the scum of the earth. And it's safe, and there's a safe in the background. So it's like that's like weird. That's weird language name game shit going on. Then
Yeah.
there's Uncle Buck with the Cubs symbol on the suitcase.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, right there.
Because the Chicago, yeah, hell yeah.
That's a little fucking drop Easter egg right there. Bro, that's crazy. That looks so real. That looks so real. Like in there.
It's obviously there. There's no mistaking it. It's not a delusion. It's not it's not this wishful thinking. I mean, it's there, and there's enough evidence to point towards it. I mean, if I was building a case in court, I think I'd have a strong case.
Oh, there's still so many things that I haven't seen. This one has Sean Young in it. I follow her. You know who that is?
Sean Young. I'm not. What movies?
Blade Runner. She is
Okay.
and then also Pet Detective. She is his chief, you know, the one
Oh, yeah. Sure. Okay.
main bad guy.
Yep.
Huh. Belushi's in this. And Belushi would be tied to like Blues Brothers and so forth.
Right.
Yes, is John Candy in that?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's the cop at State Patrol. I can't remember, but yeah, he's one of the people pursuing him in the movie. Yeah.
I don't know what this is. Hot
How's that? Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah, Hot to Trot.
Is John Candy in that? I don't think so.
It's within his thing. It says
Well, that's like a racehorse, I think. So it's
racehorse would automatically. There's like apples involved too. I just had this thought of Bobcat and like Scrooged.
oh yeah.
I don't know if that's related. It just kind of like flashed in my head for a second. But yeah, I guess the racehorse, the horses would always kind of be a symbol of that idea. But this racehorse is like wearing a business suit. This looks like a talking horse.
I've seen the movie, but years ago. I can't recall the actual.
I have no idea. None. Speed Zone.
Not familiar.
So, okay, I want to wrap up here and kind of go through. Well, this is weird looking. I don't know. This seems loaded. When was the last time you watched?
Are the Twin Towers in the background? I don't know.
I don't think it is.
No,
I think it's somewhere else, but it's definitely got the plane and stuff going on. You know what I'm saying?
He's stuck to the window.
Yeah, it's weird. There's just something weird going on there. Because the candy, like people have made this whole connection to John Candy and the Trade Center and blah 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 blah. Well, that's the Rescuers. JFK. Oh, that's right. He's in He has this thick accent in JFK.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Delirious. Do you know this?
Yeah. Not one of my favorites of his, but
Okay, I think that's it. Okay, so I know that I kind of wanted to go back and do this because I feel like it's really strong and really there. But there's probably some more relevant stuff that we can talk about next time. You don't have to come back on. I know that we were like trying to make this happen for a long time, so I don't want to pressure you or anything. But I'm
no,
excited, man. I really like kind of exploring this stuff with you. So
absolutely. I've got more. We can tackle some more. Like I said, I've got Richard Pryor as well. If you want to keep going with the financial symbolism, you know,
Richard Pryor would be fun.
I got really hip to all this. It was around the time of like the Occupy Wall Street movement was when it really kind of came to me, and listening to a lot of Jordan Maxwell explaining financial symbolism as well. So, I mean, that was kind of all during that time. And then, you know, maybe around 2015 or so, I kind of moved away from it, started exploring other things, and haven't really, you know, visited this stuff as much. But I think when we were talking about what we could discuss, I think this is one of my strong kind of like niches that, you know, I think out of all the sync people that, you know,
How do you
discuss
feel
him.
about because I know that, I mean, we're kind of over it now, but there was the whole COVID thing. Like there was some stuff that
Oh yeah, I
happened.
did a whole hour, 2 hour movie on all the syncs with COVID and everything. And, you know, I go dark with that. And there's some, you
It's a
know,
little darker.
yeah, a little more, you know, conspiracy oriented, you know, like, you know, this is planned kind of stuff, you know.
Well, I only asked you to come on for an hour, so I appreciate it. We'll try to make some plans in the future, but geez, man, like, oh, you know what? Something we could talk about is like you and I did this when it was a little hard to do it before.
Yeah,
And that was like with Mel Gibson. Like we have a whole thing together
yeah.
that we took for like 3 years gathering the materials to talk about Mel Gibson.
Maybe
Um,
it's maybe we should do a video about that. You know,
maybe
actually
we
get
should.
get explored in depth about what we were talking about our twin videos. You know, we
Yeah,
each
because you and I know that material. Like we
yeah
went through that together to explore. Like, I mean, back in that day when we came up with this idea, it was more about like trying to prove it's a thing. I don't have to bring it up to people all the time, but now it's like certain experiments that we've done, particularly together, was like trading notes, watching a movie, come
yeah
back and saying, "Oh wait, you saw the same thing that I did in that movie. I wasn't like imagining it." Like
right,
cross-referencing each other's work. It's kind of like a peer review. You know what I mean?
absolutely, yeah. And you know, and then doing two complementary videos where we both kind of deal with an aspect of it, and they're completely different, but yet the same. It was I don't know. I think it was an interesting experiment. I don't know if it was ever
It
done by
wasn't
anyone else in
necessarily.
the community. What's
No,
that?
I don't. I mean, we chose it because I mean Mel Gibson at that time was like blacklisted from Hollywood, so there was only like a limited amount of things that you could watch.
Yeah.
Because if
And
you're
well, I
trying,
mean, it was also, I think we discussed like, well, what kind of subject do you want to tackle? We're like, well, we should do something together. And I think when we were at
yeah,
the 2014 Olympia Sync Summit, we were like, all right, hey, Mel Gibson, man, let's do it. Like, and we
because
were just
people kind of go
bouncing
in and
ideas.
out of like relevance, so to speak. Because like a
Yeah.
lot of people with like, for an example, like the Charlie Kirk shooting kind of got attached to Snake Eyes, the movie, because it deals with a man getting a political assassination with someone getting hit in the neck, and that person's name is like Charles Kirkland or something like that. And then the boxer's name is Tyler. So there's these key words that happen throughout the movie that are kind of like attached to this modern event that's happening with Charlie Kirk. And so everybody's kind of watching like Nicolas Cage movies right now. That's like the trend. And when we went to go do Mel Gibson, we were trying to do somebody off trend. And so that it wasn't like attached to
Right.
modern times or whatever. And it's kind of like the platform that I like Meta Egg to be is like this idea where we can come and talk about modern things, but we can also look at it like a retro, looking at movies that maybe people haven't seen.
Right.
Um,
I spend a lot of time in the retro. It's where I find myself most comfortable. Yeah.
So one of your channels is in Deck 6, but I understand that you also have another channel where you kind of do like retro commercials and stuff. Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah, totally vintage. I'm uploading, anything that's not copywritten, but like commercials, man. Like you go back to like 86, take a block of commercials from old VHS tapes, and it's to me, it's like getting in a time machine and zooming back, man. You sit down and watch a hour block of commercials from 82, 83. It'll set the stage for memories to flood back, or any kind of program, like a lot of like news, local news channels and stuff. I try to focus on Minnesota, like Minneapolis and St. Paul area, like the local news is here that are from then. Anytime I can go to swap meets and flea markets and garage sales and pick up these old VHS tapes and then just, peruse through them and clip out what I can. Anything that doesn't get flagged for copyright, it goes up, even if it's an old show. I've got some cartoons that have, full block of, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes from like 91, the cartoon with all the commercials in it. So you can enjoy that experience. I think
Is this it right here?
totally vintage. Yes, sir. That's it.
God, that's dope looking.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
that's
know.
kind
I
of,
like going back. I did this whole series with Frank Zero of like Saturday Morning Vision Quest, and
yeah, I love that.
he
Yeah.
would
He's,
give me cartoons to watch. But I noticed that when I would go back and watch them, I felt the same. Like
yeah.
the same feelings that you have when you were like 12 years old and sitting in front of the TV, expect in the commercials, like remembering commercials. You know what I'm saying? Like one will come on, and it will be like, I had forgotten about that. Like there's this deep rooted nostalgia that just, I don't think it's like just the overall feeling of nostalgia. It like kind of sort of like I value the stuff just as much as that I do now, you know?
and it's a real lullaby. It's a real lulling to sleep. It's a real, you can tell it was just a different mindset, like the way they lulled people in advertising back then. Like now it's all like drug commercials and, the symptoms that are going to kill you. And back then it was this very comatose, like, buy this dish
Double
soap
mint
and
gum.
soft hands and
Might
everyone's
be
happy. The
legal.
best part of waking up is Folgers in their cup. There was a whole different, cultural vibe back then that makes you just, it really, it lulls you back into a safe space.
Ugh.
I don't know, it's one of my little pastimes and hobbies. So yeah, besides painting, I'll put on like Masters of the Universe and, paint and draw and do my art and, got several things going. And so it's what I love to do.
Tim, I love you, man. I think you're a
Love you
genius.
too. You're a genius too, my friend.
Maybe we should do Richard Pryor. But until then, everybody out there, please support Tim. Please support Meta Egg, and keep on cracking, guys. Cracking them codes. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in Richard Pryor, man. I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
be trying to find, because
We
I
did an interview on 42 Minutes right after I think it was around 2014. I think we did one and we spoke about it in that 42 Minutes with you and Doug. So, I mean, we have kind of, talked about it, but there's some more to divulge yet, so, but yeah, Richard Pryor, strong resonator with finance as well.
awesome. All right, my friend. And
Yeah.
then I got to get back to the family and everything. So I'll text you later, man.
Sounds good, man.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye-bye, guys. Take it easy.